Hello again, folks, and I'm just going to do a video here, hopefully around 5 minutes, to quickly answer some curiosities and myths about Canada that always seem to always come up, that people uh, always ask. First off, the capital of Canada is Toronto. Incorrect. Toronto is the second largest city in all of Canada, but our capital is actually Ottawa, which is near the Quebec border. Another myth or misconception, we all live in igloos. Yes, my igloo is right beside the McDonald's. um, yes, there are some Canadians that do actually live in igloos, but for the most part, I would say 90% of Canada does not live in the Inuit slash Northwest Territories area. So we have houses just like normal people around the world. Unless you go up north, then you might live in an igloo. Let's see, something else. Our government controls our healthcare and tells us who we go to see as doctors. Misconception by many people, especially Americans, who are very. Sorry, let me make a fact about this. Americans and the USA are the last country in the world who do not have a social, generalized healthcare system in place. Think about that. As for us, our healthcare system has been in place since the 60s. Uh, no, the government does not tell you that you can go to this specific doctor or that you need to take this specific med. It doesn't work like that up here. And from what I understand, it's not like that in most other countries that have a socialized free healthcare system in place. What else? Um, do we have McDonald's? Yes, we have McDonald's. We have Burger Kings. We have Wendy's. We have Arby's. Most of the things that are down there in the States are actually up here, including Starbucks. Let's see, what's another thing that always gets brought up? Oh, it's always cold and snowing up here. Again, no. Same thing with the igloos. You would actually need snow to make an igloo and ice. For the most part, most of Canada is, warmer weather. The more southern you go into the bottom of the provinces, more towards the US, the more warmer the climate gets. Same thing as where my location is. I live off of a bay, so unfortunately, in the colder winters, because of the humidity and moisture, we do get a higher content of snowfall than other parts. But compared to, say, um, 3 hours south of me, the temperature can change anywhere from 5 to 10 degrees warmer down in the lower part than same thing as if you were to go 3 hours north of me, it would be another, could be 3 to 10 degrees colder. The higher up into Canada you go, the more colder the weather is, and in turn, you know, it's snow. There's very little places other than, say, like the Northwest Territories where most of life in existence is pretty much under snow. Let's see, what else? Do we play hockey all the time? No, we do not play hockey all the time. Um, Canada does have other sports, soccer, um, baseball, which myself in my youth I played a lot of baseball and softball. Again, seasonal sports are definitely a part of Canada. Nothing different about that. What else? Do all Canadians love maple syrup? No, not all Canadians love maple syrup, nor does every home in Canada have maple syrup. Um, Myself, um, I do enjoy maple syrup. Unfortunately, my mom can't have it because of her kidneys. It's hard on people with kidney problems, unfortunately. Not to mention, in the last probably 5 years or so, maple syrup prices have actually risen, like what you'd get for like a container, we'll say like 12 ounces or something like that, or 20 ounces of maple syrup, like pure good maple syrup. Um, you used to be able to get a bottle like that for about $6, but because of how trees are becoming, the maple trees are becoming in Canada, um, and inflation and everything else, that same 20-ounce bottle of maple syrup now to go and buy it in the store would probably cost you around $22. So it's almost becoming like gas. Um, let's see what else. Oh, all Canadians love poutine. No, not all Canadians love poutine. Um, a lot of people like poutine, but I don't think we all do. Um, Myself, I do like it. There's definitely varying styles, but the actual true origin of poutine is from the province of Quebec. And if I understand, I don't want to say that because I'm not exactly sure, but I believe it might have been a hangover remedy. But anyways, poutine itself is actually a cheddar curd that when you actually put it in your mouth and bite, it actually squeaks on your teeth. So you know you're having a true cheddar curd when it actually squeaks on your teeth when you actually bite into it or bite on it. Um, Again, the original recipe in Quebec is your French fries put into some type of bowl, usually done crispy. Then they put the cheese curds over top, and then the actual gravy in the poutine um, in Quebec is actually a chicken-based gravy. So again, that's poured over top. It melts the curds, and as I seen it on one program, they actually pour the gravy all the way up to almost like the right top rim of the bowl. So it's a good dose of gravy. What else? Canadian bacon. Yes, we have Canadian bacon, but so does the states. Um, what you are not understanding though is Canadian bacon is actually called female bacon, and all it is just a round piece of bacon with some cornmeal on it, no different than what's sold as back bacon or whatnot in most parts of the states. So Canadian bacon isn't necessarily Canadian bacon, it's actually just female bacon that's, again, sold in various parts of the world. Let's see. What other things? Um, can I answer here? As I'm already hitting the 10-minute mark. Marijuana is legalized in Canada. No. It's recreationally used in Canada, but is not legalized, unfortunately. Um, but hopefully, Canada will start seeing things as a lot of the world and Colorado has, in realizing how much less people would be in jails and how much benefit, not only medicinally, but financially, it would be to legalize it. Let's see what else now. Cabins. No, again, we do not live in cabins. Um, well, some Canadians do in some of the northern parts. Um, Another misconception, we're always out on hiking trips or camping. Not everyone. Um, our internet is as fast as the rest of the world. No, that's definitely that's definitely a misconception. The fastest we can get for internet speeds here in Canada is like 100 megabits per second. And when you're talking about those connections over fiber or cable, um, you're talking costs of anywhere from 100 to $250 a month, depending on the data capacity of the line and the provider. And on top of that, we don't have access to internet speeds like that around our country. Same, such as for myself, the fastest speed I could get is 100 megs per second down, but I haven't been able to get access to that speed until probably about 2-3 years ago. Otherwise, the most I could get for speed around here was a 5 meg DSL connection. And even now in my town where I reside, there's no fiber, there's only cable and phone line. And most of the major providers will not run those technologies into these smaller towns because they don't see it financially feasible. So again, while Canada has some advantages, um, we're still very behind in internet technologies. As a recent poll was done, we are only we're third worst in the world for internet services, for not only cost and what's available to us. Like, that's crazy. The only one of the worst places that's worse than us in the world is Africa. And what does that tell you? I mean, it's crazy because you can get um, for example, in Japan, unlimited data. What was it? Unlimited data, 100 megs up and down connections for like $19 a month. Like, that's nuts. That States doesn't even have that. But I mean, it's something that Canada really needs to change in this decade, especially with e-commerce and such going on. Um, oh, our government does not have a president. We have a prime minister. Our prime minister is the head honcho of Canada. Um, I've heard some Americans say like that our prime minister is the president. No, again, Canada's governmental system is kind of a spin-off of the British government system, so that's why you have things like prime ministers, ministers, and so forth. Uh, Also, in regards to the government thing as well, too, compared to say like the states, We don't have two parties. We don't have Republicans and Democrats and whatever the hell it is down there in the States. Only two basic things. Canada is a free vote slash free party kind of government. You have, for parties, to break it down, you have PC, which is progressive conservative. You have the New Democratic Party, NDPs. You have the Liberals, which I'm not sure what that would be down in the States, in the US state system. Then you do have other parties like the Green Party. You also have other independents, which is similar to like down in the States have independent people, but there's like I think 5 or 6 actual governmental parties that could be elected into government for to see over Canada, which I believe is a 2 or 3 year term, similar to the U.S. Um, let's see what else. Getting citizenship into Canada. Um, it can be relatively easy, but at the same time, not that easy. And the most best way you're going to get into Canada, especially through the government, is actually if you have a career or a job that would fill an in-demand thing here for Canada. For example, one of our biggest things we have a shortage of in Canada is doctors, mainly because a lot of doctors get enticed by going down to the States and making more money, or want to privatize, so they don't take up residence and don't do practices in Canada and leave for the States. So, say you were an American doctor that actually had a good reputation, but wanted to leave the States and start a practice up in Canada, you would pretty much get your citizenship and everything else um, agreed to and done as swiftly as possible. Because again, doctors, nurses, nurse practitioners, things that are tradespeople, like maybe plumbers, electricians. You can go to the Canadian government site, and there's a section somewhere there that actually will tell you in-demand trades or skills that Canada is looking for, and if you fall under one of those types of things, it is one way to speed your way into the country and get citizenship, whether it be from the U.S. or some other um, part of the world. Trying. Well, given that I can't think of much else off the top of my head, I think I'll just end it here because really it's now 20 minutes that this is going to be, and I hope some of the things that I've said or mentioned maybe answered some of your questions about Canada or misconceptions about Canada. So, on that note, thanks for the review, folks, and catch us later. Have a good one. Oh, by the way, we don't all talk like this, eh? This is how Newfoundlanders talk, which is at the east end part of Canada. So no, we don't talk like Newfoundlanders. That's also another misconception. Anyways, on that final note, catch us later.